How's it going, everyone? It's Mike with This Old Hot Rod. It's the long weekend and I'm going to try to get a couple of things done on this. I was hoping to try to make it a roller by the end of the weekend, but unfortunately I don't have the parts I need. I thought I had a front Model A front spring and wishbones. I know I had one, I just don't know where it is at the moment. I don't know if I gave it to someone or... I gave Vin Cassidy a call today and I'm waiting to get a call back from him if I have the opportunity tomorrow morning to take a ride up to his shop. I'm going to do that. All I really need is the wishbone and the spring. I want to grab a Model T rear spring, and I may actually just buy a Model A complete rear axle assembly just to bolt it in, just so I can make the car a roller. See if he calls me back. He said I haven't heard from him yet. So what I'm doing for the time being is I'm trying to get this rear panel bolted in place. The reason I'm doing that is so I can get to work on the deck lid. So in order to get this deck lid on, I need to get a set of hinges. I don't want to buy a set of hinges because I don't want to spend the money on hinges. So as I had said in an earlier video, I'm just going to use what I have. And I'm pretty sure I have a set. Alright, that one went in. I'll get the nut started on this and see if I can pull the bolt through. It's nice working with original metal because all the holes are already there. So you don't need to drill any new holes, you know. Get a couple of nuts and bolts to bolt on the bottom where it attaches to the sub rail. As soon as that's done, I'm going to start on the deck lid. Thanks to everybody for all the kind words on the Pinetree Jamboree videos. I had a really good response from those videos. As all you guys know, I try to put a lot of time and stuff and put out good videos, and I think that time really paid off on the Pinetree Jamboree videos. I was really happy with them. Obviously I wouldn't have put them out if I wasn't, so it was nice to get a lot of positive feedback from people. Alright, so what I just ended up doing was I got this rear panel bolted in place, so that's all set. What I want to do next is start working on the deck lid, but I'm kind of having some issues here because these are Model T coupe deck lids, both of them, and they're a little too wide. Trying to figure out the best way to go about narrowing this deck lid. I am probably going to end up having to cut it. I don't think I'll be able to roll a sharp enough edge on either side. I can't just do one side because then the keyhole is going to be off-centered and I really don't want it to be off-centered. Again, I guess this is just going to be a quick hot rod, but quick hot rod build, but I still kind of want to do things so it looks like the car's been together for a long time. I can't get the front edge of it where it swoops up over here. Can't get that smoothed out and rounded out until I get it sitting in the opening. In order to do that, like I said, I think I'm just going to have to make some cuts. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to end up having to modify the inner structure as well because that's too wide also. That won't even fit in the opening. So I'm assuming that the Model T coupe, the opening for the trunk was larger than the roadster. I don't know. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. Or different years or different widths. So on this one, it doesn't have the keyhole. That kind of plays in my favor because there's no opening to be offside. It won't matter if I use the aftermarket deck lid because there's no hole to notice. It won't be noticeable if I just modify one side. So I guess modifying this one would be easier than the original one. So maybe I'll go that route. But what I need to do first is work on this bottom edge. I need to roll this bottom lip where it's going to go over the lower pan. And what I'll show you what I mean by that. So you can see here, there's this recess where the deck lid would sit into. I need to get this skin rolled. And here you can see it's about 3/8 of an inch. See, it's cracking. It's cracked all the way. You can see where the crack is just, it's a good portion going across here, and then it's cracked along the sides as well. So what I'm going to have to do is notch these corners, roll this under. It'll actually stiffen up this metal just a little bit, and then get that set in place. And then I can kind of figure out my width and then where in this area I need to cut it. So for right now, I'm going to grab my cutoff and I'm going to relieve these bottom corners so I can access this lower portion and I can get that edge broke. I'm going to notch these back, cut these back about 3 inches, then I'll probably just fold them out of the way. And I'll have access to this on my metal brake. Or I can clamp this piece of steel to it. I can get a nice straight edge and I can break it with a hammer and dolly, or just a hammer. I don't have a work table out here, so I'm kind of limited. Actually, you know what? I do have a table. Let me go get it. Alright, I went and grabbed my table. You see it next to the Roadster. It's just a metal table that someone gave to me a while ago. I'll just use that to shape the metal over the edge. But what I got to do first is just recreate that break on this here. This straight edge to the table, to the deck lid, and I'm just going to start hammering it on. Alright, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a couple of clamps. I'm going to clamp the deck lid to this straight edge to the table on both sides, and then I'm just going to start hammering. I'm going to use the edge of this straight edge as basically a hammer form. This sheet metal has been sitting inside a long time, so I won't be surprised if this sheet metal cracks also, but fingers crossed it doesn't. See what I've got so far. Got that edge broke. I'm not going to hammer it all the way over yet, but I am going to do a little bit more. And you can see it made a big difference in the rigidity of this panel already. Just doing that little bit, breaking that one little edge. I'm going to get that hammered down just a little bit more. I'm going to end up having to notch it on the ends just a little bit. We'll do that after. It's right here. So you can see where I'm at now. Got this edge broke all the way down. It's not perfect because I still have to fold it over the rest of the way once the inner panel is in. We'll figure out when we're ready to do that, but it's not yet. It's going to be a little while. I'm going to get some measurements here on the deck lid, the opening, and then I'll transfer them over to this panel, and then I'll figure out where I need to be to narrow this panel. There's some areas of this panel that are pretty bad, like on the edge right here. Kind of comes in and then it swoops in. Both sides do that, so I got some straightening out to do on this panel. I'm hoping, like I said, I can just re-break an edge down here. If I flatten this piece out here, it's kind of rolled. It's not real square, this edge. So if I'm able to flatten this out, I don't know if I'll be able to or not. I may be able to run it through my bead roller and re-tip an edge in my bead roller. If not, like I said, I'll just do it on the table. Basic tools, you guys. That's what we're gonna do, basic tools. Right at the very bottom is 34.5. So I'm probably gonna go 34.25. So I have an 1/8 inch gap on either side. And the top of it is 34 and 5/8. Driveway build continues. So what I decided to do was, I got the bottom edge of the deck lid lined up where it needs to be. It was a little off right now. And then what I did was I just took this 1/8 inch piece of 3/4 stock, 3/4 inch flat stock, kind of eyeballed it down this seam between the fender well and the panel above the deck lid to where I needed my line to be, and then I pushed it down to shape it to the deck lid, and then I scribed it. I start to break this edge on the side of the table, over the edge of the table, and kind of hope for the best. I get two opportunities to do this. This deck lid and the factory deck lid. If I screw up this one, what I think I'm going to do is I'll probably just cut the edges off of the factory deck lid, break some sheet metal, reshape it with my shrinker stretcher, and then just tack weld it underneath. We'll see. We'll see if we can see if I can get this to work. What's up? Don't ask. You didn't see anything. That's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Are you sorry you asked? What's the sheet metal work with a sledgehammer? Sorry guys, I thought I had the camera adjusted. Block in here. The block is from my bench press, my bearing press. I use it all the time as a dolly. You can see how much I brought this side in. And originally it was this thick. I more than doubled the thickness of that lip, and in doing that, this deck lid straightened out. That swoop is gone. I'm going to trim this lip back, and that will allow me to kind of manipulate it after the fact. You can see where it straightened out quite a bit from doing that edge on that with the hammer and dolly. I'll grab the shrinker stretcher once I get it fitting good, and I'll readjust the curve on the deck lid. But it's getting there. It's better than it did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to notch some of this steel out of here. can start to get this thing kind of set where it needs to be, and figure out where I need to make my cut or my break. Metal work with a sledgehammer. Can't be the only person that does it. Alright, so you can see up top, I still have to remove this section here, fold this under, so I'm going to have to make some relief cuts there. I am going to have to kind of get the shape of the deck lid to follow the contour of the tops of the quarters. I can't do that until I get that straightened away. But I think I'm in pretty good shape. I mean, obviously the car's not perfect, and I'm not going to do body work on this car, so I will do some hammer and dolly work just to get things cleaned up just a little bit more. Now, to be completely honest, it would have been easier to just make a new deck lid. But for obvious reasons, the color of this metal, how the condition of it is what I like about it. Well, again, it'll need some reshaping because I rebroke those edges and it flattened the panel out. But I have the inner structure that's got to go in this too. So let me see if I can get up underneath the car and get a scribe so I can scribe this body line. It has, there's no lip where it sits in, so wherever I scribe it, there I need to do my brake. Alright, so I went underneath, scribed it. Yep. You can see my mark pretty easily. All the way across. I think maybe I'll go this route so I can see what I'm doing. Old tool from a guy that was an auto body guy. He said he had made it years ago, and I've used it quite a bit. Things like this. As far as I'm going to go with that, again, I want to be able to slide the internals in there. Bit of an area here that kind of went south on me, so I'm gonna pay a little bit of attention to that. So get that sorted out. So I have to say, Bad Chad, you guys all watch Bad Chad, and if you don't, you shouldn't. Do a search and watch them. Give them a subscribe. Him and Jolene, they're awesome. Chad just chopped the 35 Ford two-door sedan, and he had mentioned that I had inspired him to build a race car for the Pinetree Jamboree after they watched the footage that I had put up from the event, and that was a huge compliment, and I'm looking forward to following the build from Chad and seeing what he does. I think he kind of understands what the event was. He's a car guy. He's into the old stuff, obviously, so he understands it's got to be flathead powered and whatnot. So I'm really looking forward to that race car shaping up. The way he chopped it, the roof height and the profile of the car, if done right, I think it's just going to look like a killer old school hot rod from the 50s. There was a lot of funky stuff done back in the day. If you guys know, a lot of you guys were around back then, building these one-off, purpose-built race cars. And I think if Chad does does his homework and sees, maybe looks and does a little bit of research and sees what some of the cars of the era looked like back in the day, the early Ford, flathead powered dragsters and race cars. He's going to build one hell of a race car, so I'm really looking forward to seeing him put together that car. So Chad, I'm calling you out. I will be at Pinetree Jamboree 2022 next year. I hope you will as well. And we're going to do a whole bunch of racing next year, and I'm looking forward to it. Excited to watch the build. You guys, you and Jolene are awesome. Congratulations on 100,000 subscribers. Look forward to everything you guys do. You do some pretty amazing stuff with not a lot, so it's very inspiring to say the least. And I know we had met about a year and a half ago, I think now, before COVID, and it was great to meet you guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again. So I'll see you at the Pinetree Jamboree next year, 2022. I'm calling you out. This is the top of the decklid, this is the bottom. It needs to have an arc, and then it kind of swoops up. I think the driver's side looks pretty good. The passenger side, I need a little bit more of an arc. So I have to stretch this area here, but let me look and see. Really not too bad. I want to do that. Hi, Annie. What?
I'm not leaving you any food to eat.
That's what it looks like. So you see what I was saying? If I were to follow the shape of the decklid here, I have to start shrinking it here to drop these ends down. Problem is, this panel was already shrunk at one point, so I don't know how much of it I'm going to be able to actually shrink. I may end up having to cut the steel. If I can't get this to shrink, I may end up having to cut the steel and get it to... So let's see. I'm not allowed to go to any swap meets this weekend, she said, if I'm not supervised. Which is fine. It's all going to be this weekend. Alright, made a couple of quick measurements. So the decklid inner structure. And now I'm going to cut it up. Body work with a sledgehammer. Sledgehammers work pretty good for body work. Metal shaping. Get this lower panel tucked in here. Alright, so that panel is in there. I would have to crimp it down. But I don't want to do that quite just yet because I have to cut this. So that's essentially where it needs to be. Alright, so I'm trying to fit this back in here again. Get it underneath that lip. So what it looks like is I can actually slide it up in the channel in the front lip and then get it far enough up so I can then slide it back and it'll still be underneath the front. Go grab a screwdriver. Now what I need to do is see if it fits. So that's more or less the structure. Again, I don't want to pinch it down yet in case I got to pull it out and change anything. The odds are I'm probably going to have to. But temporarily, it's in there for now. It's got a pretty decent shape to it. I'm hoping if I need to adjust it, I still can. We'll put it on and see. Alright, so you can see it kind of flattened out here. Again, the problem is if I were to English wheel this, and then put the structure in, the structure is going to pull it where it wants to be, where it wants it to be. So English wheeling it probably isn't going to help. So I think what I need to do is I think I may need to just put it all together and then see if I can modify over the pole or something, modify everything as one piece. I'm going to stop pinching it together. I don't think I'm going to do deck lid louvers, just because it's just one more thing to do. Water will get in there. I'd rather just not deal with it. There's no reason to do it. I'm not going to benefit in any way from putting louvers on the deck lid. Besides, I mean, it'll look cool, but you know. Let's get this thing pinched together. I'm going to use this to put underneath it. So I can get this lip to lay flat, somewhat flat on the table. Shabby. I want to do the front without need. Alright guys, let's check out this deck lid. It's a little, didn't come out quite as nice as I wanted it to, but it looks okay. I still can do some fine tuning on it. But, you know, from what it was to what it is now, it's a big improvement. Got a little wonky here down on the bottom, and then I kind of measured it wrong right here when I did that line, that edge that I broke. It actually can go over to that side some. So I think what I'll do is now that it's in place, I can put a straight edge on it. And actually get a real nice line. And see if I can get some of these areas that are a little close pushed in a little bit. This side's pretty good, there's a couple little spots. But again, for an old crusty hot rod that's going to be used at the races next year. And it looks pretty good. It's kind of getting dark. I got to run to Tractor Supply to go pick up some cutoff wheels. So I'm going to wrap up my night here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, what I've been able to accomplish so far in a short amount of time. I'm going to go Sunday to Vinny's to pick up, I hope, a Model A rear axle for now, just so I can make this thing a roller. I may even just pick up a Model A front axle for the time being, if he has one that's in decent shape, that's free, that moves. If not that, at least a Model A wishbone and a Model A front spring. Once I get the Model A front spring and wishbone, I can get a front end put in this thing. I have a couple different sets of spindles with bearings. I got a couple old used sets of kingpins, which will be good enough for mock-up. I have all the bungs and whatnot, the mounts and stuff that I need for the wishbone mounts, so I'll get those out. I got to finish weld the windshield stanchions. These are just sitting there. What do you guys think about the windshield? Got a nice rake to it, nothing too extreme. Want it just so it's subtle. You can see here where this rides up, and it actually is going to hold the windshield in place, which is kind of nice. Tomorrow that cross member is going to be removed. I'll get the body bolted to the frame. There's body mounts down there. There's actually holes in the frame right where the body mounts are. So this frame definitely had a Model T on it. Whether the roadster bolts are different than the coupe and the sedan and stuff, I don't know, but it definitely had a Model T on it. So that's pretty much it, guys. So hopefully tomorrow, Saturday, got a little bit of running around to do in the morning, but like I said, I think from a distance it doesn't look that bad. All right, everybody, day 2, Pinetree T. Keep an eye out for more videos on that and whatever else I'm up to. Gonna head to Vinny's on Sunday, go pick up those parts. I'll have my camera with me and go talk to Vinny. See ya.